Where's she from?
There.
Yeah, you made it. Georgia, Texas.
Henry Kramer and
No, you in here.
Kraehmer.
Okay.
That's the only thing I could remember off the name tag.
Okay. Yeah, no, Deborah. He's named Deborah. She's coming. She might be here tomorrow. I mean, this one. Her daughter's coming. Matthew 31. She lives in her mother's Sarah's Alice Way. She's Sarah Alice We'll meet him out there.
They were part of the team in 1928. Several of them come back. So, yeah, it's confusing.
I think I can edit that.
Yeah, tea or a water.
Reminded the hill of springtime. Dark wood cases stretched back into the gloomy rear of the store. Here we practiced our skilled trade among countless wood groves. Black labels painted on ceramic pools added to the mystery of it.
It's a creepy floor. Okay, question, how much did a phone cost? How much did a phone cost? Well, tea's down in here, I bet. Waffle iron.
I've got good peripheral, you guys over there.
Watch out for the bomb.
The ground building, no motor vehicles.
Oh, all right, we can handle that. Did everybody catch up? Not yet. Oh. Oh, he'll be.
I'll start. We're the Gladneys from Missouri. We're Charlie Gladney's daughters. So 3 and 4 of us live here. The 4th one is in the state of Oregon. Okay, now, this is the order. Cindy is the oldest. And her husband Larry. They live in Columbia, Missouri. I'm sorry, you live in Washington, Missouri. Well, I'm like 10, 12 years. I'm Terry. This is my husband Gene, and we live in Brashear, which is close to Kirksville. It is on the map. Carla and her husband Ron, and they live in Columbus. And then our youngest sister Sandy lives in the state of Oregon. And like I said, we're all Charlie's daughters, and we're trying to keep them alive.
Who's next? Someone hasn't been to when I knew you.
I'm Marilyn Lockett, and this is my mother. This is Gladney Potter, and I'm the oldest. My sister Jeanette, this is Cheryl, her husband, Kenneth, their daughter, Kim. My brother Rusty back there, and his wife Mona is here somewhere. And so, my brother's daughters, Heather, and Melanie. And this is Bobby Jones, he's my fiance. And we'll be introduced. This is Dorothy Hampton, my mother's sister, and Neil Hampton, my husband. Is there anybody down there that I've ever found out? Oh, Scott, I didn't see you. There's Scott Hampton. He's the son of Dot and Leo. And we all live in this general area. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Family member who hasn't been to Gladney yet. Who's next? Okay, go ahead.
I was going to introduce my grandson, my husband, Christine Henderson, and this is Randy Bowen, and his great-great-granddaddy was away.
Very good.
I've got a story to tell. This is my first one. And,
Oh,
5 years ago, and she asked, I asked her how it was, and she said, well, we walked in and there were all these short people, and they were Gladneys. And she said there were a couple of big tall people, and they were Hendersons. I came here to see the Hendersons, and I haven't found them yet. This is great. I think it's terrific. We've been to the cemetery in South Carolina.
Thank you.
Randy Nichols. I'm connected to the Gladneys through Samuel Bruce Gibson tribes of the family. I'm here with my wife Patricia, who lives in Germantown. It's nice to be here.
My name is Larry McCage. My mother was Daisy Violet Gladney, Madison County, Tennessee. She was sent from the group that came from South Carolina to meet in Tennessee. I think they did. And this is my wife, Nancy. We live in the apartment. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you. Anyone else who hasn't been to Gladney reunion? Oh yes, go ahead.
This is my daughter. What up, Emily? I think Kelly's outside.
Haven't been before, but
Yeah, they got
now
two children.
we're outside
They're
playing.
outside playing or church watching the neighbors. Her husband's at the school. And they live pretty close.
Now, the other thing we've always done is after we've introduced our new people who are new to the reunion, we've gone back and asked others who are here tonight to introduce themselves and their families as well. So, if we could start back here, would you guys come? Ray.
I'm Ray Hunt from Leesburg, Alabama. I got adopted by the Gladneys about 5 years ago down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's been hard to get away from them ever since, so I just keep coming back, and I appreciate all of you.
I'll do it. I'm Tim Johnson. This is my son Trent, my other son Timmy, and my daughter Tracy's over there. This is my trophy girlfriend Annie. And this is my good friend Rick Bruno. Let's see, Stanford, Kentucky, Centerville.
This is my husband Patrick. We're here from California. I discovered my Gladney connection relatively late at night and actually discovered it by means of the internet. Googled the name Gladney and up popped the Gladney website. Very interesting. I had no idea. So then I went to the Gladney reunion in Baton Rouge. When was it? 4 or 5 years? 5 years ago. My immediate Gladney relatives are from Weir and the Pool and in that area of Mississippi. Not in the book. I'm determined at some point to find exactly where the connection is, and I know Tim gave me a hand last night. And I hope to continue researching and actually make that final connection. It's exciting. We're happy to be here. Oh, we have a distance award, yes.
Gene Bond, husband of Betty Bond, past president of the association. We're from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
I'm Wally Gladney, and this is my wife Dean. And Nancy and her husband Scott Hanner and their daughter Grace. We're from Lexington, Kentucky.
I'm Kenny Johnson. This is my wife, Alice. We came all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. Tim's brother. And we got three sons. Glad to be here.
I'm the other Wally Gladney, for real. And came after the other Wally Gladney. We runs the Gladney Association. My wife Blanche. Right over there. Very happy.
How did Ivans get to be president of Gladney's? Well, my grandmother was Gladney, and I started coming to the Gladney reunions back in the, early 90s, late 89, I guess, 89, 88. My mother is the Gladney, and she brought me, and she's here with us in spirit tonight. I spoke to her before we came, but she was unable to make this trip. But that's about the story. I'm now living in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. So I think the California people beat me as far as business goes.
My name's Kathy Newman. I'm the editor of the Gladney Journal. My husband is doing the videos tonight. This is my son Kevin Beach and his wife Jessie Beach. And we're from Sharpsburg, Georgia, and my son and his wife are from Huntsville, Alabama.
Anyone else? Okay, we also introduce or point out the past presidents that we have here. We actually have 3 past presidents. Little Wally, or James Wallace Gladney, was from 1989 to 90, correct? 89 to 90. And Charles Sidney Gladney was from 1993 to 1994. And then Betty Bond, I guess, is our longest serving president. She served in the position from 1997 through 2006. She was my immediate predecessor. The next thing that we'd like to do is read the minutes from last year's reunion in Winsboro. Kathy, you want to do that for us?
Vice President C. Wallace Gladney opened the banquet. No formal meeting was held due to the absence of President Larry Ivans due to illness. The financial statement was not read, and there was no reading of the past minutes. Very heartfelt thank you was given to Judy Whitesell and her family who hosted the reunion last year. They served delicious meals on Friday night and Saturday night, and the food that was left over was donated to a local charity in the Winsboro area. The Whitesell family presented a white table, a missing men ceremony. A table was set for one in front of the room. On the table were dress hats for each branch of the service. A single white place setting, one wine glass which was inverted on the table, spilled salt on the bread plate, a slice of lemon on a dinner plate, a small bud vase with a single stem rose, a red ribbon tied around the vase, a lit candle, and an empty chair. All those items had special meaning for the military. A quiet fellow of the family is Judy's daughter, Jenna Whitesell, read the white table ceremony. Judy Whitesell then gave a presentation honoring our Gladney heroes, both living and those who have already passed away, who have served in the military. These names were presented to Judy upon her request. Some had photos and some were simply names, but all were powerful remembrances of those passed. After the Gladney heroes were honored, Judy presented photos regarding her trip to the Gladney adoption home in Texas. While at the Gladney home, Judy was given a tour of the home by Edna Gladney's niece, Deb Macklin. She gave Judy 2 linen handkerchiefs from both Edna Gladney and Samuel Gladney. The linen pieces were at the reunion for all to see. They will both be framed securely and loaned to the Fairfield Archives to be kept with the Gladney Bibles at all times.
I'd like to hear a motion to accept the minutes, and if you, as you make the motion, if you follow it with your name so that Kathy's taking notes and get that down. Do I hear a motion for accepting the minutes as read?
I prefer.
Betty Bond. Do I have a second? Second. Motion, minutes approved. The next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report.
Again, this is going to be short like it was last year. Well, the report's going to say we have $13,534 in the bank, which is almost 1,000 more than we had last year. I didn't tell it. But now it's enough to consider giving a refund back to all of it. But I consider not to consider that, so we're not going to do that. And that's about all. We're going to check. I mean, you don't have any stock. That's good. You just got money in the bank.
It's always good to have money in the bank. A motion to accept the treasurer's report is given. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Motion was made and seconded and accepted. The next item on the agenda is the upkeep of the cemetery. For those of you who haven't had a chance to come to the Gladney reunions or to be to the cemetery, go to the cemetery in Winsboro, that's one of the big things that this association was formed for, is to take care of that cemetery, in addition to having the opportunity to come together on a yearly basis and to nurture the interest of those of us who are interested in genealogy and family. But one of the things we always do is to agree to pay Kenneth Kirkpatrick, who is also a Gladney relative, a sum of money each year for the upkeep of the cemetery. And that sum of money is $300. And he does a very nice job of upkeep for the $300. So, is there a motion from a member of the family to, again, authorize the payment of $300 to Kenneth Kirkpatrick for the upkeep of the cemetery? Do I have a second? Come on. All in favor say aye. Aye. Now, it has been a custom for us to go back to Winsboro every other year for the reunion, and we anticipate returning to Winsboro next year for our family reunion. The preliminary arrangements for that, Judy Weitzel and her family, who did a wonderful job of hosting it last year, have agreed again to be our hosts and to make the arrangements. We have contacted the Fairfield Motel to ask about rooms and making reservations, but it may be that we will not be there. We're looking at some other options as possibilities for a number of reasons. One of them being the expense of the meeting rooms. But at this point, what I'd like to report is that Judy Weitzel has agreed to do it, and it's possibly going to be, the rooms will possibly be in Fairfield, but we'll get more information out to you in the Gladney Graham as that information becomes available to us. Any questions or comments about that? Okay. All right. Do we have any other business to be offered from anyone in the family? Any new business? No new business.
Is this the right time?
This will be fine.
Well, I'm going to point out that we have 21 more of these softback for the old the book that Mrs. Arnold published, and I brought 6 of them. There's 15 more after these, and we agreed to sell them for $20 a piece, so we don't have to mail them while we're here, because it's normally $25 for covering mailing costs. So if anybody wants them, there's 6 of them here. And after we get these and the other 15, there won't be any more.
That's a real bargain. And by the way, the hardcover books are still available. All you do is have someone, us included, that's all the Higginson book company in Massachusetts. And in my black book, we got one somewhere. We have a telephone number on it. They will mail you one after you pay them $147 plus shipping. A book. It takes about 6 weeks to get the hard cover. Okay. And maybe we get the limit in the revised edition. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so the books are not published yet. You, every time you order, they get everything to it, print it out, put it together, and send it. That's a 6-week turnaround. Okay? It's available. About telephone call.
Okay.
That's a bad buy.
You know, particularly since that was the first one. That's the original. All right, the next item of business is the officers for next year. And the board met yesterday in preparation for this, and we would like to propose the following slate of officers for the upcoming year. In addition to the officers that have very specific title, we also have 3 members at large that are board members. And I will read the slate of officers at this time. President and Treasurer is C. Wallace Gladney. Vice President, temporarily, is Betty Bond. What normally occurs, for those of you who are not aware, is a member who has served as a board member moves up to the presidency, eventually, vice presidency, and then presidency. At this time, Marilyn Crockett would be the board member who would be moving into the vice president. At this point, she would like to wait a little bit on that. And so the board has decided that we will suggest that Betty Bond serve temporarily in the vice president role until Marilyn is ready to assume that role. Our secretary, who's not here tonight, is Dan Gladney. Kathy Newman is the editor of the Gladneygram. Little Wally is our historian. Data bank manager, Tim Johnson. And then our board members are Marilyn Crockett, Lucille Gladney, and William McMaster. So that is the slate of officers that the board would like to propose. Do I hear a motion to accept the slate of officers as read? Yeah, we can't do that. Do I have a second? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Is there anyone opposed? No, you can. Okay. It's been voted and accepted. This will be our new slate of officers. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Wally.
Larry, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And I'd like to introduce Betty Bond again, who's going to be the speaker. All right? We're going to wait a while down here.
Y'all kind of think there's nobody else that, but Betty Bond, because these are at the top of the list, but it isn't.
You're supposed to stand up and introduce yourself. I'm what?
My wife's not here.
We're so glad to have you all, and I'm so glad to finally get our reunion in Memphis. We tried, but we had a storm that ran us away, and we had to cancel, so now we're here, and we're glad to have all of you, and we're so glad to see you. I'm particularly glad to have our speaker. We had him lined up to come at the last Memphis reunion, but I had to email him and call him on the phone and say, well, just put it in the back of your computer. We'll be there one of these days. And sure enough, here we are. And Randy and I are very close cousins. We share the same Civil War or war between the states, depending on whether you're north or south. Grandfather, our Samuel Bruce Gibson, is a first son of Jane Gladney Gibson. So we are close, and I'm so glad to have him. He is a 36-year veteran of health care. He has served as ALSAC St. Jude Children's Research Hospital Executive Vice President for the past 2 years. He is the Senior Vice President of Finances, and we were talking about finances while ago. He knows what he's doing. He came to ALSAC in April of 1997 as Vice President of Finance, and within the first year was promoted to Senior Vice President. He came to St. Jude from the hospital industry where he served in the capacity of Assistant Administrator and Chief Financial Officer for a number of not-for-profit hospitals. From 1992 to 1997, he was employed by the Forum Health Resources industry and served as Assistant Administrator to Natchez Region Medical Center, another not-for-profit county hospital that was managed by QHR. As an employee of QHR, Randy has served Nina Medical Center, Salome Springs Memorial Hospital, and Ashley Memorial Hospital, other managed hospitals on specific purpose assignments, including computer system installations, budgeting, and specific financial reporting requirement. He has introduced his legal wife, whom I met for the first time today. And please welcome our Gladney, Randy Nichols.
Thank you, Betty. Betty thought she was going to be a speaker tonight, and what she got was an accountant. With kind of a droney voice, and most of my delivery sounds like I'm giving the budget. But I'll do my best. I brought the cups as a peace offering if you don't like the speech. So when I accepted Betty's offer to speak to you tonight, it caused me to do some preparation. I went back and first of all, I looked back and reflected on how I came to be here, what the family genealogy looked like. I also brushed up on my St. Jude facts a little bit too. Tonight, as part of this group, Betty told you how I came to you as the great-grandson of Samuel Bruce Gibson. My grandmother, Rosalie Gibson Nichols, who was married to Ben Nichols, had that name Calder, because I kept finding in the church directory. There were a lot of Calders. I laugh about some of the names that we hear now, but I don't hear of many Holders anymore. I went to the website of the church in Rock Springs, Monticello District, Drew County, Arkansas. And that's where my family all went. It was a Methodist Episcopal Church South. It began The registry began in 1859, and I was amazed at how all of those early families had blended together over the years. There were Nichols and Gibsons and Harpers, Gross, Davis, Wallace, Hilliards, McCallums, and many more. And there were marriages and births, there were deaths, but the relationships grew and grew. And it was like a web all over Drew County. And I wondered if there was anyone in Drew County that I wasn't kin to. Not many. Not many. It's kind of scary too. I married Patricia. She and I have been married for almost 30 years now. And I had to go all the way to Memphis to find somebody I wasn't kin to. She and I have 3 children, Rachel, Sarah, and Aaron, who are grown. And by the way, Patricia's great-great-grandfather was William Henry Harrison. So she and our children are related to the president and Katie Court. His great-great-grandfather was Benjamin Harrison. You know, all of us Americans, all of us with a heritage, and we embrace that heritage. That's why we're here. And where I work at St. Jude, I'll give you a Danny Thomas saying. He said, "He who denies his heritage has no heritage." And he was Lebanese. I'm a member now of that other family, the St. Jude family. And it too has a long, rich history. I want to tell you a little bit about how it came to be. And I'll give you another quote that was Red Buttons, if any of you remember the comedian Red Buttons. He said of Danny, Danny is so religious. He said the Pope was a statue of Danny in his It was more than 50 years ago that Danny Thomas, who by the way his name was Amos Jacobs, and he changed his name so he wouldn't embarrass his family because being in show business wasn't really the thing to do. He was a struggling entertainer. He had $7 in his pocket. And he got down on his knees and he prayed in a Detroit church before the statue of St. Jude Thaddeus, the patron saint of hopeless causes. And he prayed to him and he said, "Show me my way in life, and I will show you, I will build you a shrine." And that prayer was answered. He soon moved to Chicago for a job at the 5100 Club, and thus began a wonderful, successful career in films, TV. He became nationally known, and he also owned a piece of the Miami Dolphins at one time. And the Real McCoys, if any of you remember that, a lot of you are too young for that, but that was one of his productions. He became very wealthy. So in the 50s, he began looking for a place, a way to make good on that pledge that he had made to St. Jude. He knew a high-ranking cardinal in the Catholic Church. He also had a connection to Memphis. His name was Cardinal Scritch. And he and Cardinal Scritch decided that the Children's Hospital for the needy would go. And that's what St. Jude was to be. It was a hospital for needy indigent children. I don't believe that in his wildest dreams he could have ever imagined St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It just was not what he had thought it would be. It's probably not what anyone thought it would be back in the 50s. Because right now it's got almost $1 billion worth of buildings and equipment, research going on. It's passed around the world. He began raising money in the late 50s, and in 1957 formed ALSAC, which is A-L-S-A-C, ALSAC. It's the American Lebanese Syrian Associated Charities. In the beginning, he went to his heritage with a message to the Arab American community that this was a chance to give back to a country that had given them so much and such opportunities. The message not only caught on with the Arab Americans, but with many other Americans, and ALSAC was born, raising millions of dollars throughout the years. In 1962, the hospital opened its doors. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was born. Danny's dream came to life. It focused on pediatric leukemias, solid tumors, solid tumor forms of cancer, biomedical research, and today's basic and clinical research includes bone marrow transplants, chemotherapy, biochemistry of normal and cancerous cells, radiation therapy, blood diseases, viruses, genetic diseases, influenza, and like the bird flu, you hear so much about, the H5N1. The doctor there at St. Jude is the one that they call to find out what to put in the flu vaccine. St. Jude's treated children from across the U.S. in more than 80 foreign countries. All of St. Jude patients are treated regardless of their adultery type. ALSAC covers all costs not covered by insurance. And the little hospital in Memphis now operates, has a daily operating cost of $1.3 million. St. Jude's brought about improved health care for children all over the world. And our founder, Danny Thomas, who died February the 6th of 1991, did live to see his dream fulfilled. Danny and Rose Marie are buried in hospital grounds. In the pavilion, it's called the ALSAC, Danny Thomas ALSAC Pavilion, and their children, Tony, Terry, and Marlo, carry on their work. I'm going to give you a few facts about the hospital and what's going on there. St. Jude's the first institution established for the sole purpose of conducting basic and clinical research into catastrophic childhood diseases, mainly cancer. St. Jude is the largest childhood cancer research center in the world in terms of the number of patients enrolled in the research protocols and successfully treated. St. Jude's treated children from all 50 states and around the world. The research findings of St. Jude are openly shared with all doctors and scientists all over the world. St. Jude enjoys worldwide reputation as a teaching facility. The medical and scientific staff publish more than 500 articles annually. St. Jude is the only pediatric research center where families never pay for treatment, not covered by insurance, and families without insurance are never asked to pay anything. We provide housing, food, shelter, transportation to and from the hospital, and sometimes for up to 3 or 4 years. St. Jude continues an extensive expansion program to bolster the hospital's research and treatment efforts. It's more than double the size of the original campus. I won't go through all of the buildings that we've put up, but the most recent one is the Chili's Care Center, which is in conjunction with Chili's Restaurants. And they have pledged $50 million over the next 10 years to help pay for that building. It will be focused on children's brain tumors, which is some of the most contentious forms of cancer that we have. ALSAC provides more than 70% of the funding for St. Jude. The rest over 30% comes from insurance. 85 cents of every dollar received supports the research and treatment of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude pioneered the combination of chemotherapy, radiation, or necessary surgery to treat childhood cancers. Dr. Peter Doherty of St. Jude won the Nobel Prize for medicine in 1996. And since its inception, the survival rates have gone up drastically. For instance, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, excuse me, which used to be a death sentence, the survival rate was 4%. Today is 94%. Hodgkin's disease in 1962 was 50% survival. It's over 90%. Medulloblastoma, the survival rate was 10% in 1962. It's above 85% now. Wilms tumor, which is a kidney tumor, the survival rate was 50%. It's now over 90%. So you can see what kind of wonderful work St. Jude has done and the results that they've done. St. Jude carries on all of this. They do stem cell transplant programs. They've been recognized by the National Institute of Health has been involved in the human gene therapy program. Goes on. Our Danny Thomas once said, "Those who work for the good are as those who do the good." I'm very proud and honored to be part of Al St. Jude family and to bring you the St. Jude story. I'm also very proud to be your cousin. Thank you.
Well, I thought that they always did such great work, and that we would all be pleased to know that we have a Gladney as part of that great work. And our new president has a gift. Since he gave cups to us, he has a gift over there. I have to guide everybody. I'm not sure he's going to give it up, Patricia. It's for you here.
We're not getting married, but it's cute.
See if it came out
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been fun. I can't think of any other conclusion except strive for safety and home. And thank you again. Church service tomorrow at the pool at the day, how about 8 o'clock?
Yeah, it's not going to really be a church service. It's going to be
Hold hands and talk about it.
Serenade by violin. Scott Heyer's going to play us some violin music. I'll warn you, I've only been playing about a year.
Oh, there he goes. There he
But he
goes.
works
Be better than Jack Benny, I'm sure.
kids, so you know the best way to learn something is to teach it yourself, right? So we're really looking forward to that. 8 o'clock around the pool.
That's our traditional church spot, round circle, on Sunday.
Someone very famous, General Douglas MacArthur, these proceedings
Followed that by saying, "I shall return, and you will see me next year."
pay the mortgage, and it was a high school string job, and I was really like feeling very uncomfortable with that. So I started taking some violin lessons when I was about a year ago. So you know, you never know where God is going to put you. So I've been very grateful to have a musician, but I've been learning the violin for about a year. So dance with play, so I guess is the gift to come down where we ought to be, and when we find ourselves in a place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, we'll be in the valley of love and It's a shaker song, and I know they got some shakers in it, but I'm trying to make tune my heart to sing thy praise, streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnets sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount, I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. Oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let thy good goodness like a fetter, bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love. Is my heart, oh, take and seal it for my courts above. Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy help I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God, he to rescue me from danger interposed his precious blood.
Yeah, it's, I guess, around-the-clock operation to do those things.
Y'all sent me a little story about that.
Yeah.
The Gladney ground. I'll get
Good
him
idea.
to write down the name of his firm and stuff. I don't even remember what it is, but yeah. And he, I got all excited. I'm like, oh, are you gonna be on TV? But